Good morning. Just after 6 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Erin has local news just a couple of seconds away. What's up, kid?
The governor surveys the damage in the Ruston area. We'll talk more about that. Comcast outage widespread across Shreveport and Bossier. Shreveport, I should say. And would alcohol deliveries to your home be okay?
No, I think it was Bossier, too, as a matter of fact.
They have Suddenlink.
Yeah.
They don't have Comcast.
He was complaining last night his cable was out, I assumed.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Did you drive by? Everybody it was like, why is the parking lot at Tinseltown overloaded?
It's unreal.
Yeah, it was.
Businesses couldn't take credit cards. It was a mess.
Fletcher has sports, traffic, and weather. It's all coming up this hour right here on KEEL.
KEEL Morning Report, now on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The governor on hand to survey the devastation in Ruston in the path of the deadly tornadoes Thursday morning. Edwards says pictures from the ground don't do the damage justice, and for a state used to floods and hurricanes, it's unusual to see such a precise path of destruction.
Tornadoes, unlike floods and hurricanes where everything is widespread, it's really sort of strange because you see one side of the street seem perfectly normal and everything on the other side of the street severely damaged.
Ruston Mayor Ronnie Walker says crews will be back out again today.
It's just a matter now, we're trying we've got so many trees, so many poles that were broken. We're trying to get into neighborhoods that we haven't even been into yet because we couldn't get into them earlier. So we're going to survey the damage. We've got crews coming in to help our crews.
A mother and her son in Ruston died when a tree fell on their house. Major internet outage hitting Shreveport. Matt Parker with that.
Thousands of Comcast customers were without internet and cable Wednesday. The company says Tuesday night storms caused major damage to their infrastructure and caused a mass outage. The majority of customers had service restored just before midnight last night. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A bill by Shreveport Representative Thomas Carmody would allow restaurants and food companies to deliver beer and wine with meals. Carmody says with the ever-expanding role of digital delivery services, businesses need to be able to expand and adapt. Unlike years past, this bill is garnering more support because of added measures to prevent minors from ordering alcohol online. Lawmakers have moved a bill forward that would raise the minimum wage in Louisiana. It would go up to $9 an hour. Business leaders, though, object, saying this would cost jobs across our state. The LSU Board of Supervisors set to vote on the contracts of two major figures in schools athletics. The first is that of the new athletic director, Scott Woodward. Tiger Rag editor James Moran says Woodward's 6-year deal is valued at $8 million, with a starting salary of $1.1 million and seeing it bumped up to $1.5 million in years 5 and 6.
I don't think Oliva ever got to $1 million in total compensation. Maybe there was some bonuses or things like that, but clearly it's a big commitment to Woodward.
Woodward's contract is not only more lucrative than his predecessor on the base pay, but if Woodward is still on board in 2025, he gets a $250,000 bonus. Major sporting event coming to Shreveport Bossier. There'll be an Olympic qualifier women's volleyball tournament coming to the CenturyLink this summer. The tournament will happen August 2nd through the 4th at the CenturyLink Center. The Americans, who are ranked third in the world, will host Argentina, Bulgaria, and Kazakhstan in the round-robin play. A local pharmacist indicted for fraud. Melissa Richardson, who worked for Veterans Affairs in Shreveport as a pharmacist, indicted on 20 counts of acquiring drugs by fraud. According to the charges, Richardson used her position to illegally take various drugs from prescriptions meant for patients. If convicted, Richardson faces up to 4 years in prison. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un boarded his train for home several hours early after wrapping up his first summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. The NFL top draft pick, Kyler Murray, going to Arizona. Devin White picked 5th to Tampa Bay. Jerry Tillery, another local prospect, taken 28th to the Chargers. Greedy Williams has dropped into the second round and is still waiting for a call. The most stressed nations in the world list is out. The U.S. is number 4, behind Greece, the Philippines, and Tanzania. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Time for traffic. Friday morning stuff. Here's Ruben.
Starting things off looking pretty clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Kings Highway near Linwood Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Now, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon, but here today, sunshine's in the forecast at 79. Clear tonight, low 55. Sunny tomorrow with a high 82. And clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard Wettig of the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. So
You'd have thought this town didn't know how to read a book.
It's amazing, huh?
Pick up a book.
Welcome to the 1960s.
Pick up a book.
It was, how many people were out? How many people? It was no internet, no cable from like 11:30 yesterday morning until about 3 or 4 in the morning. I don't know.
Yeah, it came on. I was back on at my house around 2. My son was up and he was, plugging it all back in.
Note to neighbors, need better passwords.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the free internet.
Oh, God. It's...
You just click on one of them connects eventually.
Right, one of them will connect.
Yeah.
I I was on my head pops up.
in the
I don't
ether because
I don't know.
there's your Wi-Fi in the house.
Yeah.
Then there's Xfinity Wi-Fi. Mm-hmm. And then there's something else it connects to. I don't know. And then it you click on the thing on my phone that says available Wi-Fi connections or something like that.
Right.
And I just try every one. I mean, I live in a
Something
townhouse.
looks like-
I would imagine your house is the same way.
Oh, yeah, there's a
About
zillion of
90 of
them.
them pop up.
Yeah.
You just start rolling the dice.
Yeah.
You're gonna
I'm not
connect to
sure.
somebody.
I'm not sure I want to connect to the one that says "woman in townhouse on corner." I'm not sure I want to get on hers. It's one of those. I don't know about that.
Christmas tree burner. So you got an answer. I was going to
did.
ask because we've talked about this for a bunch of days. You and your PRRs, public records, asking some insurance questions, and you wanted to know some stuff. The most recent was about a lot of the consent decree. And let me say that again if folks don't know. The consent decree is the deal, the agreement the city of Shreveport made with the federal government, specifically the Environmental Protection Agency, I guess, to because they mandated we redo our sewer system.
Right.
And originally the cost was going to be about, what, $350 million?
Yeah, we've already spent $400 million.
And it's anticipated it could go in excess of $1 billion.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of contracts, a lot of really, really good deals for, I would think, all sorts of companies who do that kind of thing attached to that consent decree. And there's people, I would assume, bidding for that, or maybe not. Maybe they're just given those contracts, which was kind of why you had sent that public records request. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I'm on another one now that I just got back because the mayor said during the meeting this week, he said, we have mail indicating that our insurance coverage was going to be changing.
Okay, so this is the one going back to the changing the insurance companies.
Right.
No, the carriers.
Yes, the brokers, essentially.
Around the first of the year.
Right. And, I thought if you got notified that the prices were going to go up, these prices are going to go up. I've got a guy who says he can save us money. I'm going to, try to go with him to save money. And so I wanted to see that letter, and I thought that might help justify to me why you changed. If your current guy says prices are going up, we're going to need to make a change.
Yeah.
I could in seconds, and then I'm probably going to jump off of it because I got that letter. It is addressed to the city of Shreveport.
Just general.
City of Shreveport, Travis Street, blah, blah, blah.
Hello, Shreveport.
Dear policy holder.
What?
Dear policy holder.
Who did that go to?
It went to the city of Shreveport.
Who?
There's no name.
Who
City of Shreveport.
Okay, mayor. But the mayor probably gets a lot of mail. I mean, look, if somebody addresses something to Town Square Media Shreveport.
Who's going to get it? Yeah.
Does it go to Amy, our general manager?
First, the people that get checks open it to see if it's a check.
Yeah, you got a point. So it'll go to the business manager.
Yeah, and then this, this was from Risk Specialist Companies. And it's got a logo of AIG on it. It's got the AIG logo on it.
Which was the company that was insuring us.
Mm-hmm.
We had $815 million in coverage.
Right.
And we're paying about $550,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. I assume it went to risk management, but I don't know. Dear policy holder.
But you wouldn't know until you opened it.
You wouldn't know. No. You'll see AIG on the outside, but, I would assume.
Junk mail.
Dear policy holder, this letter is to inform you that the above captioned policy may be renewed with terms and conditions different from those contained in the expiring policy. Changes may include, but are not limited to, an increase in premium, an increase in retentions, deductibles, a reduction in limits, a change in the issuing paper changes. In addition, if the above captioned policy was not issued on a 2017 edition of Property Performance Form, changes will also include those listed on the attached Property Performance Form document. We will be in touch with you about your renewal needs and evaluate the coverage, terms, and conditions that will be all needs in the months ahead. Sincerely yours, Risk Specialist Companies Insurance Agency. So, costs are going up. We might cancel it altogether. I would have been waving this letter months ago.
Yeah.
This letter's dated January 31st. Wave this, baby.
Wait,
they were going to cancel us.
Oh,
this is the policy that went into effect in March.
We've already, okay.
This is not the other one, the fire thing. This is the property one.
That's the one that's the big deal.
This is the biggie,
But
yeah.
we already changed it. By January 19th, we'd already changed it.
We'd already put them on notice that we were changing
That's
it.
my point.
But we hadn't done it.
So that's a moot.
Well, actually, the letter to risk services didn't go out until January. The December 28th letter, don't confuse that. That's the fire and casualty thing. That's the fire department.
Isn't that what that is?
No, this is the property one. This is for the property. Don't get those mixed up because you'll get convoluted.
Okay.
But this says we may actually eliminate coverage. When you tell me you may eliminate my coverage, I'm going to run out and go look for a new company. Why aren't you?
Doesn't answer the really big questions. We went from $800 million in coverage
I know.
to $50 million in coverage.
Right.
Who suggested a 90% coverage drop? And who suggested a 90% coverage drop at a $250,000 a year premium increase?
Well, you know it's nobody from the city. Coverage by 90%.
But
Because
see-
we'd like to do that. We'd like to pay more.
But somebody at the city said, okay, that's a good deal. We'll sign off on that.
Somebody didn't read it. That's going to be the gist of
Okay,
this.
so we're back to the
Somebody
point.
didn't read it.
And you said everybody at the city, you said the mayor specifically was bamboozled. And what the point I made yesterday in wrapping all of this up was, if the mayor, if his people were in fact bamboozled by this insurance company that dropped coverage by 90+% and raised rates by 50%, why did we go back to them when we wanted to increase the coverage? Why did we trust them a second time?
I don't know. That's a
don't
great
either.
question.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, 19 past 6 o'clock. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-20 westbound's got to clear all the way to Dallas right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Well, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon, but here today, high 82, and clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard Wettig, the Weather Channel.
One 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Friday Morning Sports. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The NFL Draft's opening round took place last night in Nashville, and it didn't take long for former Northwestern Knight and LSU Tiger Devin White to hear his name called, going 5th overall to Tampa Bay. It's the highest that a linebacker from LSU has been drafted in over 50 years. The Butkus Award winner said, "I'm just ready to be a part of the Bucks family. Go Bucks all day." He's now in the New Orleans Saints division. And Notre Dame Fighting Irish alum Jerry Tillery goes number 28 overall. He'll join Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram to add a little more oomph to an already potent defensive front. And a surprise, Greedy Williams, who had been forecast before the scouting combine and the draft really started kind of getting into full swing. He was forecast as a top 5, top 10 pick. Greedy Williams out of Calvary and LSU was not selected in the first round. Neither was Louisiana Tech's Jalen Ferguson. Both are expected to go early today in round 2, which begins at 6 o'clock. The number 1 overall pick was Kyler Murray, the quarterback from Oklahoma, going to Arizona. Nick Bosa, Ohio State, goes to San Francisco. And Quinnen Williams out of Alabama is a New York Jet. Timmy Clifton, who scored the game-winning goal in the third overtime of a series-clinching win over Lone Star in the first round of the Mudbugs playoff run, got the Bugs off to a good start in the South Division Finals at Amarillo last night with a goal 90 seconds into the two-zip in the second, and Jack Yannick iced it with a third-period goal. Bugs win Game 1, 3-1. Game 2 tonight in Amarillo. Leo Schwarr had 31 saves. In the NBA, San Antonio NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, Boston takes a 1-0 series lead with an overtime win over Columbus, and the Stars fall to St. Louis 3-2. The Astros fall to Cleveland 2-1, and Seattle clubs Texas 14-2. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Retired.
I don't remember anybody
I don't
wearing number
even-
20. He was number 20, right?
Yeah. I don't know if that's been retired.
But you're
or
wearing
not.
Burt Jones.
7's been a lot of people have
My
worn.
point exactly.
Yeah.
But if you're going to retire anybody's jersey, you'd think Burt Jones.
Maybe.
But
yeah.
Leonard Fournette wore that later.
Right. Exactly. I got it during the Leonard Fournette days.
Just
so-
Google that real quick. Does LSU retire football jerseys?
Let's see. Does
Okay, so
LSU
Devin White, Spring Hill area guy.
Yep.
5th overall chosen in the.
Number 5 went to Tampa Bay. Jerry Tillery went, what was it, 28th
I know
or
he went to
29th to the Chargers.
Los Angeles Chargers. And the Greedy Williams still unchosen.
Yeah, he went home.
Lots of theories about that. Did they show him
LSU's
on?
retired 13 numbers, it looks like.
Have they really?
13 Tigers numbers.
But not Burt Jones. But not Leonard Fournette.
Jerry Stovall. Let's see. I only see Jerry Stovall and Billy Cannon are the only two. What? 37. Who was 37?
Tommy Casanova.
Okay, yeah.
I almost said Dakota Concannon. He plays for the Mudbugs.
The rest of them are basketball. I see basketball guys.
Nobody's wearing 23, I would imagine.
No, 23. Pete Maravich is retired, yeah. 3 football jerseys, it looks like.
Just 3 Burt Jones.
Right.
Well, I think number 7 has become one of those numbers for the Tigers, like number 1.
Like
An 18,
44
yeah.
at Syracuse with Jim Brown to Ernie Davis.
Yeah, where it's just one of those numbers that are passed along to whoever the big star is going to be.
Right.
So, Greedy Williams, LSU cornerback. Matt has his
Talent this year, like top-level talent, special linebackers and quarterbacks, too. So that pushed Greedy's stock down, or cornerbacks in general.
Did Greedy Williams have it?
If you look at him and DeAndre Baker, who was the only cornerback taken in the first round, number 30,
Would
went
you
to the
say they
Giants.
are the 2 most elite defensive backs in the draft?
Yes.
Okay.
But Greedy Williams, skill-wise, was number 1 on a lot of boards.
So what went wrong?
Where DeAndre Baker took the individual meetings and interviews and workouts with NFL teams, Greedy went, I don't think so.
What
So
did
he
he do
was
at the combine? Or not do at the combine?
I believe, if I
He did
remember,
well.
he only ran the 40, which he was the fastest guy there, and he did one other workout and sat out the rest. He didn't do any of the weightlifting.
in your
the
opinion,
cuts.
it's not an invalid. It wouldn't be invalid to say that maybe he came off postseason, especially in skipping the bowl game, that he came off as a bit of a me guy and a bit of a prima donna.
Yeah, I mean, if the competition's that tight and you don't do anything to set yourself apart in the positive, a lot of teams are going to pass on you.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Traffic update now, just ahead of local news. Here's Ruben.
We have reports that an overturned 18-wheeler is slowing things down on Benton Road southbound just past Benton High School. And we have some slow-moving traffic on East Texas Street near Benton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Now, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon, but here today, sunshine's in the forecast at 79. Clear tonight, low 55. Sunny tomorrow with a high 82, and clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard Weathergood, the Weather Channel.
Of information. KEEL News now.
Governor Edwards on hand to survey the devastation in Ruston in the wake of a freak EF3 tornado that cut a deadly path. The governor says while going through the city, there was one moment in particular that shocked him.
To see the second floor of the Motel 6, for example, that second floor just seems to be gone. And to know, by the way, that we had individuals who were sleeping in those rooms. But it appears that all of them were not injured.
Ronnie Walker, the mayor of Ruston, says the cleanup's going to take a while.
The wind was blowing bad, but then it got really still and quiet, and I thought, this is not good.
2 people in Ruston died when a tree fell on their home, a mother and her son. Search and rescue teams have still been out and about. Thousands of Comcast customers were without internet and cable Wednesday. The company says the storms caused major damage to the infrastructure and caused the mass outage. Majority of customers had service restored just before midnight last night. We asked earlier this week, so did city council members, if that $250,000 commission or fee has been paid to Frost Bank and Rodrell Sykes. Well, now we have confirmed that money has been paid, even though city council members a week ago voted not to pay the commission in light of the big insurance changes. A bill by Shreveport Representative Thomas Carmody would allow restaurants and food companies to deliver beer and wine with meals. Carmody says with the ever-expanding role of digital delivery services, businesses need to be able to expand and adapt. Unlike years past, the bill is garnering more support because of added measures to prevent minors from ordering alcohol online. Local pharmacist indicted for fraud. Matt Parker with that.
Melissa Richardson, who worked for Veterans Affairs in Shreveport as a pharmacist, was indicted on 20 counts of acquiring drugs by fraud. According to the charges, Richardson used her position to illegally take various drugs from prescriptions meant for patients. If convicted, Richardson faces up to 4 years in prison. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Attorney General Jeff Landry welcoming other AGs from around the nation to an event in Lafayette this week that addresses their roles following a disaster. Landry says oftentimes AGs play a very pivotal role as the chief legal officers in their state and sometimes have to wear many hats.
Each one of them serve sometimes in a different role, but overall, we do all of the legal legwork. We ensure that the paperwork is properly done.
Up for discussion, Landry says the event will address how to handle the medical needs for those impacted in a disaster. The National Rifle Association is diminished from the powerful role it played in support of Donald Trump in the election. 3 years later, the NRA is headed toward the next election, not just diminished, but actually divided. It's a reversal that's raising questions about the group's potential firepower heading into 2020. President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence will headline the NRA's annual convention in Indianapolis today. NFL draft pick Kyler Murray going to Arizona. Devin White from our area picked 5th to Tampa Bay. Jerry Tillery taken 28th to the Chargers. Greedy Williams has dropped into the second round and is still waiting for a call. Someone opened fire on a playground at an Atlanta elementary school. 10 students were hit with BB pellets. And a guy in Virginia faces a slippery slope after he allegedly stole hundreds of gallons of used cooking grease. The grease is used to make biodiesel fuel. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app is a free download from Office Furniture Source. Don't tell me, tell the producer.
I got you.
He writes everything down for me when you're gone.
Does he? Good.
Yeah.
He needs to.
Yeah. Oh, he's awesome. The more stuff you give Matt to do, the better he becomes, but the more he complains.
Oh.
But he does a better job.
He's really good at complaining. He's excellent at that.
I told somebody else my Noah Parker story the other day.
Oh,
I'll do that a little bit later.
Yeah.
It basically, what?
You make it sound like I don't like my job. It's just you two I don't like.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I feel better about that now.
I was thinking, too, about, because next Friday we're kind of having a little ceremony in here.
I beg your pardon?
We're kind of having a little ceremony in here because I will be back next Friday.
Yeah.
And
who's ever heard of Radio Briss? It'll be awesome.
And
oh, not that kind of ceremony.
I was thinking last
night. You're never too old.
You know, while I had no Comcast,
yes,
I was thinking about all the stories because I've been on Shreveport Radio. May 4th will be 35 years.
Mm.
And I was thinking about all the stories that you don't know. You know most of them. But then I got to thinking
wait a second. You and I have worked together for 23 years this fall.
You don't know them all. It's very odd.
Well, no, the point is that you worked in this market, you worked in this building for 12, 13 years before we ever hooked up.
Yes, exactly. Don't say hooked up.
Oh,
You and
sorry, I
ugh,
apologize.
Yuck.
Yeah, my stomach turned a little bit as soon as I said
man.
it.
I got some vomit in my mouth now.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are some that you don't know. And I was thinking,
hold on, you got one?
I don't think I've told you
Do
this
you have
one.
a good one for when we come back?
I do have a good one. Yeah, I have a real good one.
Now, I know the tornado story.
Yeah, you know that one. This is another one that I'm really embarrassed to tell.
Oh, I can't wait. 117 FM, 710 KEEL. Happy anniversary, babe.
Wheeler on Benton Road, southbound near Benton High School. And we have a jackknife 18-wheeler on Hillary Huckabee III Avenue near David Rains Road. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Now, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon. But here today, sunshine's in the forecast at 79. Clear tonight, low 55. Sunny tomorrow with a high 82. And clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard Wettig, the Weather Channel.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, Jack Spring Electric Shock Buster Button, highly functional, hopefully only in theory. Okay, so I'm looking here. 1984 Independence
That's
Bowl.
not the story I'm telling you.
No, I understand. But here's the update because you said you forgot.
Yeah.
And you were at the center kind of this story.
Mm-hmm.
1984 Independence Bowl, Air Force tops Virginia Tech 23-7. Here we go. All-American Bruce Smith became the centerpiece of an eligibility debate prior to the game as he was first prohibited from participating in the contest by the NCAA, which had placed him under probation for accepting illegal gifts. Smith contested the probation violation in both Virginia and Louisiana courts.
Ran to a court here.
And was allowed to play in the game by virtue of those two court actions.
I got a pretty big award for that story
For
back
what?
in the day from the Associated Press for Best Spot News Coverage, I think it was. And that was one. I mean, I've won a lot of awards over the years.
I've won a lot of awards over the years.
No, I mean,
Humble brag.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that was probably my
How
first.
far down that back can you reach?
I got a scraper. But that was my first big time. Wow, somebody recognized me. That was the year I moved here.
Okay, so you started working
But
in this building,
May
and we will
4th
celebrate that anniversary 1 week from today.
May 4th, 1984. In this
Okay,
building.
84, 94, 95, 96. So you worked in this building 12 years before we started working together.
Yeah. And I was in this room when I met my husband at the time. This very room. Isn't that weird?
Luckily, it's been redecorated.
Yeah, it has been redecorated.
Yeah. We threw that chair out.
You know, my kids have stomped around this building since they were toddlers.
Well, everybody knows the story. When we started working together next door on 94.5, they were, 3 and 2?
Yeah, they were
barely
little
walking.
tykes, yeah.
And you'd bring them to work some mornings if daycare was shut or whatever it happened to be.
Or they were diseased and I wanted to spread it.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
And so they would crawl on the floor around behind the board where all the wires.
They would get all up in that
I mean,
stuff.
understand, if you've ever been to a radio station, especially in the old analog days, everything's digital now, so there's fewer wires.
Right.
But back in the old days when everything was analog,
Everything plugged in.
I mean, and behind the board in our K94.5 studio I joked, it looked like the fuse box from 3 Mile Island. I mean, it was crazy, and they would crawl around back there.
And because you're barren, it scared the living daylights out of
you.
you.
Being a mom, you thought,
whatever,
couple of sparks, no big
they'll
deal.
shock them, they'll be all right.
Exactly,
they'll get over it.
So back to your story. I don't know.
The years prior to you, I was a news reporter. I mean, that's what I did. I covered news. I went to stories.
Hound.
I covered city council meetings and school board meetings. I went to fires. I went to wrecks. I went all over town. And we had these mobile units. Most of them were little pickup trucks. One was a Chevette. That's a whole nother story. I'll tell you about that later. But one day...
Careful, we have sponsors.
No, it was my fault. It was a great car. I get sent to, I think, a train derailment down by Ellerby Road and Highway 1, out in your neck of the woods. And I come down. This is before, the loop and all that. So I come down Line Avenue. Then I get on Flournoy Lucas, I think it was.
Right there where Cush's is, you take a left.
And then I go left. And I get to before the railroad tracks. I pull the vehicle over. And I'm doing live reports. I mean, we have a little microphone transmitter set up in the trucks.
Erin McCarty on the scene.
This is no cell phone time, okay? I have a little button I push.
Two-way radio.
Yeah, two-way radio. Thank you. And do reports. And I said, hey, I'm getting out, whatever it is, 10-100 or what? No, that's P. Whatever it was. I'm getting out to go, talk to the deputies or whatever. Okay, we'll catch you in just a minute.
At the side of this derailed train.
So I go over to talk to the deputies about whatever's going on, and get some sound bites, etc. And then I walk back to the truck.
Pardon me. On your cassette.
Oh, I had a cassette. Oh yeah, we had a $high cassette player. Oh yeah.
Radio Shack.
Oh man, no, it was what was the Sony? It was a nice one.
Radio Shack equipping radio stations coast to coast.
I think I still have it. I stole it. No, I'm just kidding. But I get back to the truck to get on the two-way and send back my reports and all that. And the door to the truck is locked. And I'm like, okay, where's the key? I have the key somewhere. Not electronic locks either. Some DA hit the lock and shut the door. And did I say I had no one with me? I had no one with me. So when I got out of the truck,
we're narrowing down the guilty party.
I pushed down the little lock button,
right.
Shut the door with the truck running. Okay? I have no cell phone. I have no access to the two-way radio. I'm now missing in action.
No, your best shot is like a payphone somewhere.
I hear the two-way radio going off. Hey, we got a minute. We're about a minute or 5 minutes out. Hey, we're 4 minutes out. Where are you? Hey, we're 3 minutes out.
Meanwhile, you're leaning up against the car.
While I'm standing there. And I'm thinking, oh, they're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. So I put my head down. I walk back over to the deputies. They're in a little circle talking. It was a minor deal. It wasn't as big a deal as it turned out to be. I trudge over there. I look at them with my sheepish eyes. I say, guys, I got a problem. What's the matter? Oh, I locked my keys in the truck. If any of y'all got a Slim Jim or something you can open the door with, those things you stick down, and they all bust up laughing.
Basically the law enforcement equivalent of a coat hanger.
Yeah. They bust up laughing, and they go over. They get a fireman who had one, I guess, and he comes over and they all, of course, have to walk over to the car. And I didn't tell them it was running. I didn't have.
Oh, they figured it out.
They figured it out. Yeah, they walked over to the car. They feel it. They see it vibrating. They feel it. They're like, "You didn't really get out, leave it running, keys in it, and lock it." I said, "Yeah, I really did."
There's a reputation enhancer for you, kid.
And of course, they hear the two-way going 2 minutes out. 2 minutes. Oh, you're kind of in a rush just to get you in this car, aren't you? I said, "Yeah, kind of am." All right, so they pop the lock for me, and I get in. I ended up having to do a live shot from down there, but because I wasn't in time to record it ahead of time. But they just look at me and they laugh. It was a funny moment for them. For me, at the moment, it was, oh my God, a disaster.
You're still kind of a kid.
I'm a kid.
Yeah,
it was a disaster.
You're still a kid to me.
Now it's hilarious.
What was that? Sorry. Yeah. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Who's not a kid to me, right? Traffic update, Ruben's here.
Crews are still working to clean up that overturned 18-wheeler on Benton Road southbound near Benton High School. And we have a jackknife 18-wheeler on Hillary Huckabee III Avenue near David Rains Road. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Keel Weather Channel forecast sunny and about 80 today. A beautiful day on the way right now. 62 at Keel, 650. Your money now. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Time for sports. Here's Timmy.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The NFL Draft's opening round took place last night in Nashville, and it didn't take long for former North Webster Knight and LSU Tiger Devin White to hear his name called, going 5th overall to Tampa Bay. It's the highest that a linebacker from LSU has been drafted in over 50 years. The Butkus Award winner said, "I'm just ready to be a part of the Bucks family. Go Bucks all day." He's now in the New Orleans Saints division, and we'll see the Saints twice a year. Later on in the first round, former Evangel Eagle, Notre Dame Fighting Irish alum Jerry Tillery goes number 28 overall. He'll join Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram to add a little more oomph to an already potent defensive front. And a surprise, Greedy Williams, who had been forecast before the scouting combine and the draft really started kind of getting into full swing. He was forecast as a top 5, top 10 pick. Greedy Williams out of Calvary and LSU was not selected in the first round. Neither was Louisiana Tech's Jalen Ferguson. Both are expected to go early today in round 2, which begins at 6 o'clock. The number 1 overall pick was Kyler Murray, the quarterback from Oklahoma, going to Arizona. Nick Bosa, Ohio State, goes to San Francisco. And Quinnen Williams out of Alabama is a New York Jet. Timmy Clifton, who scored the game-winning goal in the third overtime of a series-clinching win over Lone Star in the first round of the Mudbugs playoff run, got the Bugs off to a good start in the South Division Finals at Amarillo last night with a goal 90 seconds into Game 1. C.J. Regula made it 2-zip in the second, and Jack Yannick iced it with a third-period goal. Bugs win Game 1, 3-1. Game 2 tonight in Amarillo. Leo Schwarr had 31 saves. In the NBA, San Antonio forced a Game 7 in their opening round playoff series with Denver with a 120-103 win. Second round NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, Boston takes a 1-0 series lead with an overtime win over Columbus, and the Stars fall to St. Louis 3-2. The Astros fall to Cleveland 2-1, and Seattle clubs Texas 14-2. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
One 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin. So why is Daniel Erspalmer from the Pelican Brief Institute coming in? Wait, that's not right.
It's not the Pelican Brief
What did
Institute.
I say? Pelican Institute.
Pelican Institute.
Think tank.
He's got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk teacher pay.
Gas tax, all the
a lot of business stuff they're watching.
Stuff.
Yeah, he's in town, so he's going to pop in.
Imagine he's got an opinion. Yeah, he's a great guest. Imagine he has an opinion on the how far along is that minimum wage increase thing?
I passed out a committee yesterday. I think it's headed to the House floor now.
He's at 710 in studio. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Rush.
Right now, California produces more energy from fossil fuels than almost any other state, and Californians consume the most energy from these sources. But environmentalist wackos are putting pressure on Gavin Newsom, the left-wing extremist governor out there, to ban all new gas and oil drilling in the state. Sierra Club director Catherine Phillips says that people have been very patient with Governor Newsom, who's been in office for 4 whole months. She warns that patience could wear thin if he doesn't act by his 6-month mark. Now, imagine if Newsom was dumb enough to do what they're demanding. Aside from suffering massive job losses in the energy industry, the state would have to import all of that oil and gas that consumers use. Prices would skyrocket, and the poor and women and illegal immigrants would be the hardest hit. Despite what these wackos say, renewable energy can't even begin to make up the difference. It's not even renewable. But this is the kind of idiocy that has become standard operating procedure for left-wing lunatics. If they ever really got what they wanted, it would mean instant disaster for them and for the rest of us and the rest of the country, too, which is why they have to be stopped.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
Just received reports that a jackknife 18-wheeler is slowing down traffic on Hillary Huckabee III Avenue near David Raines Road. And crews are working to clean up an overturned 18-wheeler on Benton Road southbound just across the street from Benton High School. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Now, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon, but here today, sunshine's in the forecast at 79. Clear tonight, low 55. Sunny tomorrow with a high 82. And clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard DeWetta, the Weather Channel.
Breaking news and trending talk. KEEL, 710 AM and K269GO, 1017 FM, Shreveport.
Just after 7 o'clock, Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, way down yonder. Erin has local news up next.
Ruston cleaning up still today. We'll be hearing from the Louisiana Tech's, Dr. Geis?
Dr. Les Geis, president, at 7:40, a review of the situation.
Yeah, the governor made a tour of the area yesterday. We'll talk about that. The storm had quite an impact locally. Comcast customers, thousands, were without service most of the day yesterday, and a local pharmacist is in some hot water.
Daniel Erspamer, Pelican Institute think tank, joins us. Talk about the legislative session and the state of Louisiana. With the governor's election approaching, he'll be here in just about 10 minutes in studio. Fletcher Sports, traffic, and weather. It's all coming up this hour. It's right here on KEEL.
The KEEL Morning Report, now on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The governor has surveyed the damage in Ruston in the wake of the tornado that cut a deadly path. Edwards says Louisiana's first responders can be trusted to get the job done right.
The good news for Louisiana is that we have probably the best team in the country when it comes to emergency response. The bad news is we get that way because we have too much experience. But when we need it, we have it.
Ruston Mayor Ronnie Walker talked about the storm and its arrival.
It touched down or it came across the southwest corner of our city in what we call Cypress Springs subdivision. It came through there. It went across the Tech baseball field, and I believe the Tech softball field also. Quite a bit of damage through there.
2 people in Ruston died when a tree fell on their home. It was a mother and her son. Search and rescue teams have still been out and about. Could you soon be able to get alcohol deliveries at your home? Matt Parker with that.
A bill by Shreveport Rep. Thomas Carmody would allow restaurants and food companies to deliver beer and wine with meals. Carmody says that with the ever-expanding role of digital delivery services, businesses need to be able to expand and adapt. Unlike years past, this bill is garnering more support because of added measures to prevent minors from ordering alcohol online. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
State lawmakers have given the first hurdle to the minimum wage increase. It would boost it to $9 an hour, but some business leaders object, saying this would cost jobs. State House and Senate still has to pass the measure. We asked earlier this week, so did City Council members, if that $250,000 commission or fee has been paid to Frost Bank and Rodrell Sykes. Well, now we have confirmed that money has been paid, even though City Council members a week ago voted not to pay the commission in light of the big insurance changes. Major sporting event coming to Shreveport-Bossier. There'll be an Olympic qualifier women's volleyball tournament coming to the CenturyLink this summer. The tournament will happen August 2nd through the 4th at the CenturyLink Center. The Americans, who are ranked 3rd in the world, will host Argentina, Bulgaria, and Kazakhstan in the round-robin play. Remember when people used to be blown away when they ordered something on Amazon, found they could get it a couple of days later? Well, now apparently that's not fast enough for some, so Amazon is stepping up its game in that area. Amazon announcing that it will soon promise one-day delivery for Prime members on most of its items. Some called it the curse. Now we know Kansas City Chiefs quarterback and reigning NFL MVP Patrick Mahomes will grace the cover of Madden NFL 20 when it's released this summer. But the curse might be over because Tom Brady was on the cover last year and went injury-free and actually won the Super Bowl. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
To you by Jack Spring Electric. Online at jackspringelectric.com.
1017 FM 710 Keel, Friday morning traffic. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Erie Drive and Southfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And crews are still cleaning up after an 18-wheeler jackknife on Hillary Huckabee III Avenue near David Rains Road. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Now, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon, but here today, sunshine's in the forecast at 79. Clear tonight, low 55. Sunny tomorrow with a high 82, and clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
.107 FM 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Keel app is always a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Disaffected youth. Daniel Ersbaumer from the Pelican Institute, a Louisiana-based think tank. What did you do before that?
You know, I traveled around the country doing this kind of work in a whole bunch of other states.
See, I was going to say brush salesman.
That's right. That would be good. Or
and
vacuums.
that. Think tank, brush salesman.
That's right. Fits well.
Let's start with
the minimum wage.
Ooh.
The bill has passed in committee. It looks like it is now, I think, maybe headed to the Senate side. It would bump it up to $9 an hour from $7.25.
That's right.
What impact is that going to have on businesses and on the state?
Well, it has a huge impact. We just need to look at New York. I don't know if you follow this, but as you know, New York significantly increased its minimum wage.
Almost doubled.
Almost doubled. And for the first time in decades, there are fewer restaurant jobs today than there were the year before. This is the impact of minimum wage. What happens when you raise the minimum wage? You make it harder for someone to get their first job. And you know what happens when someone doesn't get their first job? It's a lot harder to get a better job. And the minimum wage is a barrier to people getting that first job and being able to work their way up and raise a family.
Not to become too philosophical, but one of the tragedies of America, and perhaps not to lay it all at the education system, but sociologically speaking, is we are producing more and more and more people that think a minimum wage job is as good as they'll ever do.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. We have to change. It's a cultural question at this point, and we have to help people understand what a minute. It sounds nice, right? Let's help people earn a little more money. But it has a huge negative impact on people trying to get into the workforce. And look, let's be clear. There are 5,000 fewer people working today than there were in January of 2016 in the state of Louisiana.
Let's talk about that just a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And we have had this conversation with, good heavens, Miss Doty Horton and Alan Seabaugh and John Kay we were just talking about Mr. John at Americans for Prosperity.
Absolutely.
And they all make the point, they all bring this up, that the American economy is booming. unemployment, not only for everybody, but specifically minorities, is at an all-time low. And yet we here in Louisiana, seem to be behind the curve, don't we?
We sure are. And the numbers are just stark and getting worse. You know, I just looked at the numbers. The new employment figures came out from the federal government.
Saw that.
Yeah. And so not only do we have 5,000 fewer people working, we have 30,000 people have just left the workforce altogether.
And Shreveport has been hit hard.
Very hard.
We've lost, I think, 1,700 jobs in just 1 year.
It's stunning. And
But you have this bill by Senator Carter that I think it calls for a constitutional amendment, so we would vote on it.
Right.
What's wrong with that, Daniel? Let the people vote on it.
Well, sure, it sounds nice.
How many amendments do we have now? 265?
That's right,
Yes.
196, I think.
Seriously?
Is the total.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We have a little saying at the Pelican Institute that once we get to 200, that'll be the time we should rethink things.
Yeah. But
That's
what's wrong with, let's let people vote. If it's going to cost jobs, it's on them if it costs jobs.
Well, yeah, look, it's this just means we have to do our work to educate people about what this really means and what the challenge is. If you put your cynical hat on, you might say this is just a ploy to be a voter turnout effort in a big election cycle. It's a challenging thing to look at, and this is a complicated issue with lots of factors to it. So great. If we're going to put it to a vote, well, we've got our work cut out for us. It's again, one does wonder, are these the kinds of issues that really ought to go in front of voters?
I'm that guy when it comes to talk about legislation. I really like gridlock. My sense is the less they do, the better. Yeah. The fewer laws legislators at any level make, the better, the less intrusion there is on my life. Is there a better example or a more horrible example of overregulation beaten someplace up more than Louisiana?
Oh, no, it is absolutely the example of everything not to do.
Was it you talking about that last week, or was I talking about it with somebody else? They were making the point of small business and how, I think it was you talking about like God, you got to have a license to be a hairdresser, for heaven's sake.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We have one of the most onerous licensure regimes. And again, we talk about making it difficult to get your first job. Mm-hmm. Those occupational licenses make it really hard to get your first job. This is why we have a labor problem. If you talk to business owners and managers, they have jobs. But you have to be able to show up, you have to have a little experience, and you have to pass a drug test.
Senator Peacock, by the way, was the only one on this committee who voted against this minimum wage. Daniel, you've got your toe on the pulse down there in Baton Rouge, and I want to know.
It's going to, believe me, the queen of mixed metaphors.
Yeah. What is your toe stepping on right now? What's getting under your armpit?
Yeah. Boy, the mental images here are just going
on. We can
all
take
over.
a break and come back. No, go ahead. We got about a minute.
No, so look, here's some stuff coming up. We got to keep an eye on lawsuit abuse. This is this passed the House. This is Representative Talbot's bill.
You know what? Talk about that,
Yeah.
but at the same time, expound a little bit on the legislation that is in the process
Yeah.
and how far along we are. That folks say would lower insurance rates for Louisianans drastically,
Yes.
i.e. some degree of tort reform. But on the other hand, there's every lawyer, every personal injury attorney in the state is going, whoa, not such a good idea.
Yeah, that's right. Look, this does a few things. One, it lowers what we call the jury threshold. Right now, get your case in front of a jury, it's a $50,000 threshold. There are 36 states that have no threshold altogether, and the next closest one is $15,000.
This one would lower it to $5,000, right?
It would lower it to $5,000, which would be far more in line with the rest.
It's a $5,000 lawsuit. I want a jury to hear it. I can have a jury hear it.
That's right. And
oh my gosh.
Here's what happens now is
So explain how that lowers rates.
Yeah, so the insurance companies right now, because the cost of dragging out that litigation and negotiation, what happens is the trial lawyers say, well, great, if you'd settle that for $49,000, we can get this done right now. Mm-hmm. Right? And so what happens is those payments from your insurance companies when the trial lawyers are suing your, by the way, trucking company or big rig that's coming down. They call them soft tissue injuries, which are very hard to prove, very hard to disprove. And so you get a plaintiff who says, yeah, I got hurt, I'm suffering harm. And they just, so if you're a trucking company or a commercial company, you're just getting sued every day. And so the insurance companies that cover that, the liability companies, so that translates, by the way, to higher insurance for all of us.
I got a couple of things, but what would you like to talk about when we get back?
I'd like to talk a little bit more about teacher pay raise and some education issues coming.
Daniel Palmer, Pelican Institute, just a couple of seconds away. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, the king and queen of soft tissue injuries. Traffic update right now. Here's Ruben on Keel.
The intersection at Uri Drive and Southfield Road's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And crews are still cleaning up after an 18-wheeler jackknife on Hillary Huckabee III Avenue near David Rains Road. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Now, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon, but here today, sunshine's in the forecast at 79. Clear tonight, low 55. Sunny tomorrow with a high 82. And clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
.117 FM 710 Keel. Fletch, sports update.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The NFL Draft's opening round took place last night in Nashville, and it didn't take long for former North Webster Knight and LSU Tiger Devin White to hear his name called, going 5th overall to Tampa Bay. It's the highest that a linebacker from LSU has been drafted in over 50 years. The Butkus Award winner said, "I'm just ready to be a part of the Bucks family. Go Bucks all day." He's now in the New Orleans Saints division, and we'll see the Saints twice a year. Later on in the first round, former Evangel Eagle, Notre Dame Fighting Irish alum Jerry Tillery goes number 28 overall. He'll join Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram to add a little more oomph to an already potent defensive front. And a surprise, Greedy Williams, who had been forecast before the scouting combine and the draft really started kind of getting into full swing. He was forecast as a top 5, top 10 pick. Greedy Williams out of Calvary and LSU was not selected in the first round. Neither was Louisiana Tech's Jalen Ferguson. Both are expected to go early today in round 2, which begins at 6 o'clock. The number 1 overall pick was Kyler Murray, the quarterback from Oklahoma, going to Arizona. Nick Bosa, Ohio State, goes to San Francisco. And Quinnen Williams out of Alabama is a New York Jet. Timmy Clifton, who scored the game-winning goal in the third overtime of a series-clinching win over Lone Star in the first round of the Mudbugs playoff run, got the Bugs off to a good start in the South Division Finals at Amarillo last night with a goal 90 seconds into Game 1. C.J. Regula made it 2-zip in the second, and Jack Yannick iced it with a third-period goal. Bugs win Game 1, 3-1. Game 2 tonight in Amarillo. Leo Schwar had 31-0 series lead with an overtime win over Columbus and the Stars. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Keel app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. Daniel Ersbaumer, the Pelican Institute, Louisiana. Fair to say, and I say this with all the admiration and pats on the back, a right-wing leaning, conservative-leaning think tank.
Mhm.
What were you going to ask?
I want to ask about where we are on teacher pay raises, because the governor's proposed $1,000 a year increase for teachers, $500 for support personnel. That's going to breeze through, isn't it?
It will-ish.
It's election year, Daniel.
So that's right. Here's the deal. We can't just get along, right? There has to be a political fight in this.
Uh-huh.
And the governor and his allies in the teachers unions are pushing on this. So here's what happened. Little process check. So the Bessie, the state school board, passes the funding formula each year. It's complicated. Nobody understands it.
Right.
Somebody understands
The old MFP.
MFP.
Yep.
No, nobody understands.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so then they send it over to the legislature, and the legislature can only say yes or no. They don't get to change it.
Right.
So the Bessie sent a proposal that had $101 million to pay the teacher pay raise you just mentioned. And then they said, well, we need to add another $39 million on top of that to go into the school districts. So the House Education Committee said, we don't have $39 million.
Yeah.
How did they go again? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I heard him do it.
And so
political noise.
Yeah.
So the governor says, and some of the critics say, well, you just don't want the teacher pay raise.
Oh, those dastardly people.
Because we don't have another $39 million. Well, let me give you a fact. We spend, you all probably know this, your listeners may too. We spend in Louisiana north of $12,000 per kid, have the second to last educational outcomes, and pay our teachers about middle of the pack. In Texas, they spend $9,000 per kid, have top quartile educational outcomes for their kids, and pay their teachers more. So let's ask the question, is this really about, do we need more money in the system, or should we be spending our money better? What we have called for is district level transparency.
I'm sorry, finish up.
Yeah, no, so we've got to know how the districts are spending this money, and taxpayers deserve to know where the money's going and why it's not getting in the classroom.
Daniel Ersbaumer, Pelican Institute think tank. We got about 2.5 minutes here. One more question, and it's something that I bring up all the time. Is when it comes to Louisiana, I always ask, so what does Texas do we don't, we should start?
Huh.
And what do we do that Texas doesn't, we should stop? I just teed it up for you.
Almost everything. We can answer that quickly. They're not perfect, but look, they fund their schools better. They tax their people better. There's no state income tax there. They do their yep.
I don't want to cut you off, but doesn't it? I want you to comment on this as part of that. Doesn't in Texas it all comes down to everything is so county seat and county based?
It is. A lot of that lives at the local level, where people are closest to the. Now, not every decision belongs at the local level. Some of them are best decided at the state level. But when we're talking about taxes, when we're talking about what our relationship with government service and size and scope of government, people should be able to weigh in on what they want. This is the problem with Louisiana is all of that lives in our Huey Long centric, Baton Rouge centric system, where everything goes there, as we've talked about before, the state budget. The legislators whom we elect to go reflect our priorities only have control over 11% of our state budget.
I've said a million times, I said, even if, and let's assume for the moment that every state worker, that every bureaucrat, that every elected official is honest and above board and church going and loves the Lord and their kids, the size of the bureaucracy alone will slow things down and or spend or waste to the point that it's just everything's clogged up.
That's right. We've taken an ever-expanding bureaucracy, and then we've said, let's say, when you have a bureaucracy, you have a Byzantine tax system, you've got a state that doesn't reflect the priorities of the modern day, and then you add a problem of over-aggressive lawsuit abuse. There's a reason jobs and people are leaving the state. There's a reason every one of your listeners knows someone who had to leave Louisiana to get a job. Every single one of them, I guarantee it.
Daniel Ersbaumer.
Ooh, in unison.
Not
2,
bad.
3,
In
4.
stereo.
The Pelican Brief Institute. No, that's what
Institute
Robert called it.
And
Sorry,
brush
Daniel.
salesman.
Yeah.
Always great to have you in studio. Always great to have you in our part of the state. Our pleasure, as always, young man.
Thank you very much.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Erin has local news up next. Dr. Les Geis, president of Louisiana Tech, in about 10 minutes. Here's Ruben.
Still dealing with backed up traffic in both directions on Benton Road near Benton High School due to an overturned sand truck. And we're looking at some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Now, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon, but here today, sunshine's in the forecast at 79. Clear tonight, low 55. Sunny tomorrow with a high 82, and clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
Information. KEEL News now.
Governor Edwards on hand to survey the devastation in Ruston in the wake of a freak EF3 tornado that cut a deadly path. The governor says while going through the city, there was one moment in particular that shocked him.
To see the second floor of the Motel 6, for example, that second floor just seems to be gone. And to know, by the way, that we had individuals who were sleeping in those rooms. But it appears that all of them were not injured.
Ronnie Walker, the mayor of Ruston, says the cleanup's going to take a while.
The wind was blowing bad, but then it got really still and quiet, and I thought, this is not good.
2 people in Ruston died when a tree fell on their home, a mother and her son. Search and rescue teams have still been out and about. Thousands of Comcast customers were without internet and cable Wednesday. The company says the storms caused major damage to the infrastructure and caused the mass outage. Majority of customers had service restored just before midnight last night. We asked earlier this week, so did City Council members, if that $250,000 commission or fee has been paid to Frost Bank and Rodrell Sykes. Well, now we have confirmed that money has been paid, even though City Council members a week ago voted not to pay the commission in light of the big insurance changes. A bill by Shreveport Representative Thomas Carmody would allow restaurants and food companies to deliver beer and wine with meals. Carmody says with the ever-expanding role of digital delivery services, businesses need to be able to expand and adapt. Unlike years past, the bill is garnering more support because of added measures to prevent minors from ordering alcohol online. Local pharmacist indicted for fraud. Matt Parker with that.
Melissa Richardson, who worked for Veterans Affairs in Shreveport as a pharmacist, was indicted on 20 counts of acquiring drugs by fraud. According to the charges, Richardson used her position to illegally take various drugs from prescriptions meant for patients. If convicted, Richardson faces up to 4 years in prison. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Attorney General Jeff Landry welcoming other AGs from around the nation to an event in Lafayette this week that addresses their roles following a disaster. Landry says oftentimes AGs play a very pivotal role as the chief legal officers in the state and sometimes have to wear many hats.
Each one of them serve sometimes in a different role, but overall, we do all of the legal legwork. We ensure that the paperwork is properly done.
Up for discussion, Landry says the event will address how to handle the medical needs for those impacted in a disaster. The National Rifle Association is diminished from the powerful role it played in support of Donald Trump in the election. 3 years later, the NRA is headed toward the next election, not just diminished, but actually divided. It's a reversal that's raising questions about the group's potential firepower heading into 2020. President Trump and Vice President Mike Pence will headline the NRA's annual convention in Indianapolis today. NFL draft pick Kyler Murray going to Arizona. Devin White from our area picked 5th to Tampa Bay. Jerry Tillery taken 28th to the Chargers. Greedy Williams has dropped into the 2nd round and is still waiting for a call. Someone opened fire on a playground at an Atlanta elementary school. 10 students were hit with BB pellets. And a guy in Virginia faces a slippery slope after he allegedly stole hundreds of gallons of used cooking grease. The grease is used to make biodiesel fuel. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Dr. Les Geis, president from Louisiana Tech, in a couple of seconds.
Have you seen the pictures? Man.
Yeah. There was an argument raging in this building yesterday.
God, was there ever?
And Watley started it from one of the other radio stations down the hall, and basically
he's a moron.
Who started off, and it's an old Shreveport bit. Everybody talks about it. Who's the most famous person from Shreveport ever? And there's a bunch, and I said Terry Bradshaw.
It's got to be Bradshaw.
And he started screaming and say it was actor Jared Leto. And I said,
Dallas Buyers Club. He's got an Oscar. Yeah,
was the Joker in one of the movies and stuff like that. And
he's famous. Don't get me wrong.
So it suddenly there's fist fights in the hall.
They were going crazy down here.
I know. And
it
then he
blew my Facebook up.
Then he made the mistake of bringing Fletcher in and asking him, and there's 15 minutes on why or why not.
Right.
The point being, it's. Did you put a poll up on the KEEL page? Where is all of that info?
He's got it on. We've got it on the KEEL page. Yeah.
And it was. So
he's getting his butt spanked.
So it came down to who's more famous, Terry Bradshaw or Jared Leto.
Mm-hmm.
And Watley's main argument was, well, Jared Leto has more Twitter followers. I said, okay.
Whatever.
But 44 million people see Terry Bradshaw on TV every Sunday.
Right.
So in your mind, who would it be?
Oh, it's Bradshaw, no doubt.
In your mind, who would it be?
Out of those two, Terry Bradshaw.
5 Super Bowl rings, come on.
But it has nothing to do with that, with respect.
The history of Terry Bradshaw.
I vote for Bradshaw, too.
I mean, the 30-plus years
Basically,
of Bradshaw.
It's Q rating.
Yeah.
Correct. 30 million people a week for almost half a century.
Exactly.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Dr. Les Geis just a couple of seconds away right now. Traffic time, and Ruben is ready.
We have reports of a minor accident on Raspberry Lane near Financial Plaza, and we're still dealing with some backed-up traffic on Benton Road near Benton High School due to an overturned sand truck. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Now, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon, but here today, sunshine's in the forecast at 79. Clear tonight, low 55. Sunny tomorrow with a high 82, and clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard Wettig, the Weather Channel.
1017 FM 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Keel app is a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Dr. Leslie Geis is president, the 14th, I believe, president of Louisiana Tech. Hey, Dr. Les, welcome to Keel. How you doing this morning?
Well, good morning. I'm glad to be able to visit with you.
Been a hell of a couple of days. Can you just give us an update? I was going to say, how are you doing? But when I say you, I mean the
Louisiana
body that
Tech
is,
family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're all one. That's for sure. Well, we're doing great. You know, we had a really good day, a productive day yesterday, and dealing with some of the immediate aftermath issues. And so we're up early this morning, getting planning and trying to take advantage of these next 2 or 3 days before we get back and convene in school on Monday. But the spirit is really good here on our campus, and a lot of that goes to all of the encouragement and support that we've received from so many.
Doc, we're hearing that some of the dormitories suffered some heavy damage. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, we've had about 30 buildings across campus that have received some sort of damage already. Essentially all of our residence halls received some type of damage with windows. I mean, we had some really high winds, and windows were damaged, and some roofs and other things around these residential facilities. Fortunately, they're still able to be occupied. We had some contractors come in yesterday and put wood up over windows that needed to be protected and things like that. So we're doing good, and we're also making space for students that live off campus and housing that was destroyed. We had a lot of housing near the campus that doesn't belong to us, but our students are there, and so we've been offering to support them and house them on the campus through the short term here.
How are you finding spaces for them?
Well, we've had, a little bit of space available. We've been transitioning some of our older dormitories into some new residential facilities, and so some of that space is available, and that's partially what we've been able to offer them at this point. And then a few people have moved out during the spring, and so as those spaces are available, we make them available to others.
Doc, I can't help but think, we lost a mother and her son. This could have been really far worse in terms of we could have lost a lot of students in this storm, correct?
Oh, it is just incredible, the track that this thing took. I'm sitting up in Wiley Tower right now, the 16-floor structure. The tornado came within 100 yards of Wiley Tower, which is right in the core of our campus. But fortunately, it was just a little bit north of that, and it really saved a lot of damage and a lot of lives. I mean, the residential facilities were full, and if that storm had just been a little closer to the ground, or it could have been devastating. So we're grateful. We're very sorry for the loss of the family in this community, and our students have even been reaching out. They want to help support that family in need, which happens to be a Grambling State student, and we're very concerned about that.
I was looking at it. In fact, I'm looking at a headline right here. It says sports complex suffers extensive damage. That seems to be the number one headline about the damage on campus. Comment on that a little bit, and I know it's still early, but has there been a number put on the amount of damage done?
So, the athletics facilities, certainly have been damaged beyond use. Our baseball field, our softball complex is just destroyed. Fortunately, we only have one other home series for both baseball and softball to get through. But it's had both of our teams are doing really good, and you think of the emotional impact to those students, and both of them are competing, at the top of their conference and have a good chance to go forward. So, but they were out yesterday cleaning up the baseball fields, cleaning up the softball fields, and saying, how do we build and go forward? So there's extensive damage to that in the soccer complex. We can rebuild or fix those things, and so we'll deal with that. But I'm not sure of the total amount of damage, but it's certainly in the tens of millions of dollars of damage here on our campus.
Whoa, tens of millions is what you just said.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Doc.
We've had people on campus that have been assessing that yesterday, and so we don't have really solid numbers, but they've been all over our campus, and we know there's a lot of damage around.
Doc, if I can take you back 24 hours or maybe a little further, what did you awake to yesterday morning? How did you first learn about it? And then when you got out and about, describe what you saw.
Yeah, so my wife and I live in the President's House, which is just north of the stadium, football stadium, and about a little bit before 2:00, we heard the sirens go off, and we got on our television stations and started to track the storm and could see it coming. And so I contacted our chief of police, and we started sending out messages to our students to make sure they were all alerted to it. But and then you never know. But I heard the storm. I heard trees breaking, and of course my wife and I were in the closet. Got out of there and tried to get information on what was happening, but got a phone call and knew I needed to kind of head over to campus and just kind of see where we were. And students were out walking around on campus in the damage, looking at the damage. Obviously, we were trying to triage everything that we could at that time, but it was a real emotional time for us. And we were concerned about all the power lines that were down and the potential damage and harm that could cause to our students and others that were there. So it's just a lot of managing it through that process, but it was certainly very emotional for us.
What do you guys need from Shreveporters that want to help? What can we send? We got our last minute or so here. What can we do to help?
People have been overwhelming in their support. Actually, we've had several police units and others from across the region have come in. We've been grateful that we've gotten all of the offers of support from our legislators locally. The governor came in yesterday and offered his full support, and has got National Guard, and even left his chief of staff, Mark Cooper, here on our campus. And Mark's certainly very familiar with North Louisiana, and so that's going to be a big value to us. But we're appreciative of all that everyone has done. People can go out and check our websites and find out where they can help if they want to continue to help us as we navigate through this.
Dr. Les Geis, Louisiana Tech, thanks for joining us this morning. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Your money now, just a couple of seconds away. Here's Ruben.
Still dealing with backed up traffic in both directions on Benton Road near Benton High School due to an overturned sand truck. And we're looking at some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, give us a call at the Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Now, the Arklatex stays dry through Sunday. It looks like a small chance of showers and thunderstorms Monday afternoon, but here today, sunshine's in the forecast at 79. Clear tonight, low 55. Sunny tomorrow with a high 82. And clouds open the door for sunshine on Sunday. Sunday's high 82. Richard DeWettig, the Weather Channel.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Sports Time. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. The NFL Draft's opening round took place last night in Nashville, and it didn't take long for former North Webster Knight and LSU Tiger Devin White to hear his name called, going 5th overall to Tampa Bay. It's the highest that a linebacker from LSU has been drafted in over 50 years. The Butkus Award winner said, "I'm just ready to be a part of the Bucks family. Go Bucks all day." He's now in the New Orleans division and will see the Saints twice a year. Later on in the first round, former Evangel Eagle, Notre Dame Fighting Irish alum Jerry Tillery goes number 28 overall. He'll join Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram to add a little more oomph to an already potent defensive front. And a surprise, Greedy Williams, who had been forecast before the scouting combine and the draft really started kind of getting into full swing. He was forecast as a top 5, top 10 pick. Greedy Williams out of Calvary and LSU was not selected in the first round. Neither was Louisiana Tech's Jalen Ferguson. Both are expected to go early today in round 2, which begins at 6 o'clock. The number 1 overall pick was Kyler Murray, the quarterback from Oklahoma, going to Arizona, is a New York Jet. Timmy Clifton, who scored the game-winning goal in the third overtime of a series-clinching win over Lone Star in the first round of the Mudbugs playoff run, got the Bugs off to a good start in the South Division Finals at Amarillo last night with a goal 90 seconds into Game 1. C.J. Regula made it 2-zip in the second, and Jack Yannick iced it with a third period. Had 31 saves. In the NBA, San Antonio forced a Game 7 in their opening round playoff series with Denver with a 120-103 win. Second round NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, Boston takes a 1-0 series lead with an overtime win over Columbus, and the Stars fall to St. Louis 3-2. The Astros fall to Cleveland 2-1, and Seattle clubs Texas 14-2.
Ten Keel, Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Or 3 days as you are traveling to North Carolina.
I am.
And then tell us about next Friday. Because I thought you were going to take the whole week off. You go, no, I have to be back Friday.
No, I have to be back Friday.
Said, what's Friday?
Well, Friday we're doing a little kind of a celebration.
It's
how
awesome is Erin McCarty Day?
Yeah, why not?
I know.
Why don't we have that kind of day?
We are next Friday.
We should have it more often.
You're setting it up.
Well, we have May 4th marks 35 years. Continuous.
A little bit of the guest list, can you?
I'm really not. I'm going to have a lot of people pop by.
I'm going to tell you this, and then we'll go to break. This is awesome, and I shan't mention names.
Shan't.
I have had people call me, unknown to you, unbeknownst to you.
Oh, really?
I have had people who...
Oh, really?
What can you tell us about Erin McCarty?
Ooh.
I said, when can we get together?
Ooh.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Sean Hannity.
Now, here's the morning Sean Hannity update.
Let me go back to Slate for just a second here. I mean, them saying that Joe Biden is a weak establishment favorite whose time might be past And should voters deprioritize his perceived strength and electability, he would soon face the wolves. The vetting he's going to get and face within his own party is going to be brutal. You know, his position on Anita Hill, that's why he went on the Anita Hill apology tour, is most liberals find astonishing. Their words, not mine. Some of that rhetoric is all going to come back.
Sean, later today, right here on the Sean Hannity Show.
Here's an unfortunate fact that applies to most financial advisors. They're not legally required to act in your best interest. Creative planning is different. Our certified financial planner practitioners are always a fiduciary, which means they're required by law to always act in your best interest. Call 866-CREATIVE or visit
Index would cripple American medicine.